Welcome back to the I Jupiter podcast. I'm your host, Tom Franklin, and today we have on the wonderful Colin Haskins from the CCIS, or better known as the Connecticut Cryptid Investigative Society. He's a fine gentleman. I met him really shortly in the green room. We always have a little bit of problems with our links sometimes. Before I continue, tonight, Magical Journey, Daniel, my buddy Daniel, he's going to be having his 1 year episode. I will jump on there a little while because I have to do another show later, and we'll go in there. We'll try to get him over that 500 mark tonight. He's only 7 behind. So if you guys are here now and you're listening to the show, do me a favor, go over to the Magical Journey podcast, like and subscribe to the channel. Go check him out. He's a wonderful person, a wonderful podcaster. But so my show, okay, if you enjoy this show and you keep coming back, please do me a favor. I hope I'm able to earn your subscription today. And so there's plenty of backlog. You know, I've been doing a show for a year and a half. There's many different episodes. We go through all types of things, strange and unusual concepts, you know, everything you're seeing in the intro. It's very metal. It's very jammed out. That's what I am, a metalhead at heart. And today we'll be having on Colin. If you want to go ahead and contact him, all of his things will also be in the description below. If not, we will also be posting him as we go through the channel. So with all that out of the way, like I always say, let's welcome to the I Jupiter podcast, Mr. Colin Haskins.
Tom, thank you. It's an honor to be here. I was talking to you earlier. That was a great pre-introduction. I love the Eye of Jupiter. And yeah, find your friend. There's only a couple likes away, and let's get him to that 500. I know this is live. And the thing about CCIS is we have a lot of children. We go to events, and the kids are always so into what we do that we're always keeping it, nice and above the table here. So it's an honor to be here with the Eye of Jupiter.
Well, it's an honor to have you here, man. That's such a kind thing to say. Yeah, and that you don't even know who Daniel Cahoon is, and you would say, yeah, let's go do that. And that's awesome. That's incredible. And okay, let's do that a little bit. Tell me a little bit of like about yourself and where we can find you and what it is that you do for children when it comes to cryptids and things of that nature.
We don't do anything for children, okay? So because of what we do outdoors, none of that. Everything, it's pretty much me and camera person and an invited guest, videos, and then we do conferences with Nick Grossman and his thing here in Connecticut, sort of a paranormal thing. I went to that, and I just made on a comment on CCIS that they didn't have any cryptid stuff. And next thing you know, we were invited to that. And the kids always come up to us. So we just love that interaction. And that's why there's never any foul language with us. There's never any guns, or we're never out there hooting and hollering. I mean, we do. I'm sorry, we do. But, we really like that when we go live to these events, the kids are always just asking me a bunch of questions, and it's great.
That's good. How long? So they asked you a question. So you've been doing this for quite a while. I think you told me backstage something of like 30 years. How did you get into doing this?
Okay, I've been on stage as a performance artist with musicians and poets for 30 years. Okay,
all right, buddy, that's me. That's me, bro. I'm a stand-up comedian. I'll be going out and doing it in Spanish today. So wish me luck. And a musician, a metalhead.
Break a leg.
Yeah, buddy. That's what we do.
So what I was saying to you was that I'm just very comfortable in front of people and presenting and talking and that kind of thing. As a host, I always hosted these events, so I'm not like afraid of an audience or something. So that's what I was saying. But CCIS itself has been going strong for over 5 years now. We have well over 120 investigations, almost 70 or so on locations, which is separate from a field investigation. And then we do conferences, and we're just always out there. We like to go to a different place every time we go out, and we find crazy evidence.
Wow. Well, okay. So as we also said, I said to you, and you agreed with me, like Connecticut is not known for, cryptids. We'll talk about the two big ones, and I would love to get into some other ones that maybe you've encountered or have evidence of, or if people have told you that they've seen. When you think of, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or things of that nature, or even Dogman or werewolves. People don't think of Connecticut, but what they don't realize is that like mostly the western and the northern part of Connecticut is very rural, isn't it?
Very, very much so. Especially, our sort of where we live is the northwest corner of Connecticut, Litchfield County. That's the foothills of the Berkshires. The next town over is Winsted, Connecticut. Winsted, if you go back to the 1800s, you'll get reports of the Winsted Wild Man, clearly a Bigfoot. So, and before that, not far from where we do a lot of investigating, is Mohawk Mountain, and that was part of the Mohawk Tribal Reservation.
Okay.
And there's a lot of sort of Pukwudgie activity there. Not far
Hey.
away then is the Black Hills of Meriden with the Black Dog of Meriden, and so on and so forth. And the reason CCIS was kind of started was because of just that. I have been hiking and an outdoors person, camping, fishing, all of that, basically my whole life. And I'm
Okay.
from down East Maine, but I live in Connecticut many years, so I'm always out there. And I would look up things of Connecticut, and it would be very sparse information. And
Oh,
after I sort
that-
of left 30 years of doing poetry in the music and art scene, I just decided that I really want to do what I really, really like, and something that was fun to me, and that was investigate cryptids, but not just do it specifically for Connecticut, set it up online, make it professional from the get-go, using years of amateur biology and advanced scuba diving and
oh,
all of
whoa,
that. And I just
whoa.
decided that, we're going to do it. And it started small, but by no means is small anymore. It's snowballing every day.
Fantastic. First of all, thank you so much, Austin from the Dead Chronicles. Go check him out, guys. An incredible paranormal investigator and film slash documentary, documentarian. Great guy. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. I appreciate it. We will have you on again soon. I want to promote your show like always, my friend. Yeah, that's interesting. So, was there a specific instance or something that sparked your imaginations when it came to cryptids? Was it something when you were young, or something that just came along through life? How did that start with you?
I think, like a lot of us, right? It would have started way back when, you're young. You see those first blurry photos in National Enquirer. You see In Search of. I mean, the information back there. I mean, they did the best they could, right? But the whole hoax surgeon photo of the Loch Ness monster. You had kind of those three things.
Yeah.
Occasional other stuff,
Oh,
and
the
I can
Patterson
see you
Gimlin film for
smiling.
sure. The Patterson Gimlin film for sure, right?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Right.
I mean, that is the meat and potatoes of. I mean,
That's
there's been
the
other great
Bigfoot in
evidence. Yeah, but it's the one where everyone's like, "What's that?"
I really, you know what? I mean, there's a lot of evidence, the Patterson Gimlin footage, that is a hoax. There's a lot of evidence that it's real. And I have a hard time with it. To me, it's inconclusive.
which
There's a
which
lot
which
of other stuff that needs to be
which
looked. Yeah, to me, it is. It's
which
inconclusive.
evidence?
Yep.
Which evidence? Which evidence? Once
Patterson
again,
Gimlin,
it's
Bigfoot
inconclusive.
foot.
Oh wow.
Inconclusive.
Okay,
I
that's fair
can't
enough.
say yes or no.
Okay. Okay. I had a whole episode on. Do you know who MK Davis is?
M.K. Davis. Wow, was that ringing a bell to me?
MK Davis, he's the one who tracked down the Patterson Gimlin film to its closest root. Like, there's been copies of copies of copies over the years. And he
Right.
actually, I think it took him 10 years to finally actually meet Mrs. Patterson. And they went up like somewhere's in the house, somewhere's under a dusty cabinet, and they found one of the original copies. And he actually took the videos and blew them up and showed the braid on the hair right here, the braid right here. And it's an interesting thing. And I think it's fine. I think there's nothing wrong with saying that is inconclusive. For me, it's conclusive, but I am not an expert as yourself or somebody who's had as much experience as yourself.
I'm not an expert. I'm still learning. I learned about a cryptid here in Connecticut. I couldn't believe it. After all these
Okay,
years, I'm
tell
like,
me.
called a mucket.
What's that?
And this mucket is sort of like imagine almost imagine this crazy snakehead fish, right? But native, and it's in this now. No, I don't have. I just learned about it. So it's in this river in Hamden, and it's able to jump over dams, and it will attack you. It's like the drawing I saw was like a sort of a catfish angler fish with piranha fangs several feet long, and it attacked people. And I mean, this reports are as recent as the 80s, and the town there has a little festival. And I can't believe I just found out about this guy. I'm like,
It's
whoa,
called it's called
had I known about
the
that when I
mucket.
declared the Mucket, Mucket, just like bucket,
Bucket
but
with an
with an
M.
M like Mary,
Yeah.
the Mucket.
All
You
right.
guys got to look this up. I would have
I
had
will.
a proper information, but I mean, I just found out about it.
Don't worry about it, man. That's a new one for me. Okay, you also mentioned. Okay, I've heard this before, and I normally hear it on the eastern seaboard, northeast. Hi, what's up, Al? Al Santoriga, everybody from Bronxville Paranormal Society in New York. Good friend of mine,
What's up,
great
New
guy.
York?
Hey, uh,
Bronxville, what's up?
yeah, he's awesome. He's a great guy. What can you tell me about the puck wedgie? I heard this I think in New Jersey. I've heard of it, but what is the puck wedgie, and what is the lore, or what is being said about it, and what kind of evidence would people find of this other than say eyewitness testimony?
Well, I mean, so you're going to look up puck wedgie. The first thing you're going to do is end up in Freetown State Forest in Massachusetts in the whole Bridgewater Triangle. And that's Massachusetts, right?
Yeah.
So that's what you're going to get. There's a whole lot of stuff. I mean, as soon as you look that up, you're not going to find Connecticut. Okay. However, the puck wedgie lore stretches well above into Maine, Canada, below Connecticut, the New Jersey, and then onwards northwest into the Great Lakes. That is puck wedgie territory. So it's not just the Bridgewater Triangle. However, that's a hot spot, Massachusetts,
What
Bridgewater Forest.
if you had to describe him?
But
If you had to describe him, Colin, what, like, for somebody who doesn't know, like myself, if you would have to describe, if you were to have to describe one to somebody, how would you do that?
I would say you're looking at a very small hominid, kind of like what we found the fossilized and skeletal remains on the Fiji island of recently was called the Hobbit. So
Oh, okay,
un-
yeah, yeah.
understand in our frame, the Homo sapien species, the humanoid is upright hominids there are 89 known variations of upright hominids, including Neanderthal and Gigantopithecus, Australopithecus, and on and on and on, the great apes and whatnot.
So,
Okay.
so kind of like Homo
So,
floresiensis, like Homo floresiensis.
thank you. Boom, fist bump.
Yeah, buddy, I
Good
got
one.
you. I know a little bit. I know a little bit. I mean, I'm not completely
You-
in the
You're,
woods here, man.
you're doing great. Homo
You're in the woods.
floresiensis.
You're in the
Yeah.
woods more than I am. You're more completely in the woods than I am. a little pun there. A little pun.
You're invited to come squatching with us any day. So
Oh, okay.
get into puck wedgies. So Massachusetts, that whole Bridgewater area, that's a hot spot. But the lore is not located. Now, it's real interesting as you go into the Wampanoag tribes, and then they change on up into the tribe of the First Nation tribes towards the Great Lakes. The narrative of puck wedgie changes from that in New England and Connecticut as it gets into the Great Lakes. So here, in what you're going to find in Massachusetts and Connecticut is this lore about, oh, they're dangerous, they're tricksters, they could cause you damage. And I sort of get it. Points to their intelligence. If they're a hominid species, then they could be highly intelligent. And I think they are a hominid species. And I think they're very similar to gnomes, dwarfs, and all that stuff in Europe. I think it's just cultural differences. We're going to personify these things. So, when the Europeans came over, the whole little people thing, that was no problem. Leprechauns in Ireland, and not the kinds with running around with silly green suits looking for pots of gold. We're talking the real deal here.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I'm always
so
interested in those.
what is
Interested in.
puck
Yeah.
wedgie here is a small hominid But they have a really unusual appearance. To me, from the drawings I see, when I see what I think collectively, all the stuff I've seen is, imagine a 3 foot tall European hedgehog.
Okay. I actually lived in Europe for 20 years, so I know exactly what that looks like.
Make,
So yeah,
make them
that's
a little
interesting.
bit, make them hominid, give them a little more human appearance in the face, hands with opposable digits, bipedal all the time, and then you have a puck wedgie. And then you asked about evidence, finding them. And I hinted on the lore, and I'm going to finish with that. So one day I was just thinking about what would be left behind. What evidence would we find of ancient puck wedgies? Okay, they're still here. Let's say they're still here. But what would I find would be, and I was just thinking about it, I'm like, what would be left? Well, the same thing that would be left of the First Nations peoples evidence, pottery shards and arrowheads. So I have never found an arrowhead. I've looked, I'm still looking. I'll find one day. And I just had the thought, well, what would a puck wedgie arrowhead be? Well, it would be tiny, wouldn't it?
I would
It
imagine,
would be
yeah.
tiny, Tom,
Mhm.
right? You're little,
Right.
so you're not going to carry around this freaking thing, right? Like some kind of British longbow. You're going to have a tiny little
Yeah,
bow and
maybe
arrow,
like an
right?
atlatl or something of that nature too, maybe.
Right. But it's going to
Right.
be small. It's going to
Right.
be size appropriate. They're
Right.
not hunting deer, right? They're going to be hunting squirrels and stuff like that, right? So their game would be a lot smaller. So I was like, okay, I don't know the first thing about arrowheads. Let me go to a Facebook group. I found a local Facebook group, and I just asked a simple question. Hey guys, are these tiny little arrowheads? And of course, Facebook being Facebook, the first response I got was, oh, he doesn't know. Ha ha ha. I got all this stuff. Until finally they were like, people started posting pictures of Warts Rock arrowheads next to dimes, next to American currency dimes,
Okay.
smaller than a dime. And I was like,
Wow.
then so I asked the question, well, why would a Native American make an arrowhead that small? Us, people, right?
Right. Yes.
Let's not even just people back then. Europeans weren't here. People were making these tiny arrowheads. I mean, a lot of them out of quartz, which is extremely hard. That doesn't make sense to me. Um, and so I posed the question, well, what do you guys think about the possibility of puck wedges? And then I got kicked out of the group.
Yeah. Well, we actually have a Native
So that
American. We actually have a Native American
anybody,
who's here, and she is from the Northwest. She is from Oregon, and she said there's a thing called bird tips. Maybe they're smaller. Maybe you can enlighten us,
yes,
Northwest Native Tracker. Maybe you can enlighten us today about that. I would love to. If you have something, go ahead and write it in the comments, and I'll post it up there so we can learn. Everyone needs to learn. The first arrowhead I made was a small bird tip. Okay, and what size would that be, Northwest? What size would that be,
was
my
it
friend?
smaller than a dime?
Yeah, we'll find out, man. So we're going to find
And
out.
I
We'll
heard
continue
this.
on. Yeah.
I heard this. I also heard this from the same group that there are bird tips, and another person said ceremonial. And again, listen, I outright say it. I don't know the first thing about arrowheads. I just asked a simple question, and
Sure.
to me, there was the answer that I was looking for. Yes,
Yeah.
whoever made them, I just thought this was really interesting. Really
There's
interesting.
nothing wrong with asking questions. I think if you come from the thing, you come from a point of view. I think from what I'm hearing from you, you're scientifically minded. When you say hominids or upright bipedal ape-like, animals. So you're coming from more of the scientific realm. Now, when it comes to something like, say, for example, the one that everyone knows, Bigfoot, for example, have you had experiences with them or things of that nature that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, yeah. I way before I started CISA. So I'm gonna just imagine back in 2000 and early 2000s, way before I was doing this. I was just a construction worker, and I was doing my poetry and art thing almost every night. So I was just really into that world, being on stage. Um, And I do want to get back to the lore of the puckwudgies after I answer this question. So
Absolutely,
you asked
absolutely,
if I had
absolutely.
an experience. Yes. So it was February in East Hartford, Connecticut, which is right off the capital, right? We're talking a city. This is a city suburb. This is highways. And there was a park and there was a river behind an apartment I was living in. And for whatever reason, there was these beautiful maple trees. It was February, Connecticut. So I decided and I love agriculture. So I'm in the city. I'm like, February, it's cold, it's icy. I'm going to tap these maple trees. I'm going to learn, and I never did it before. I'm going to teach myself how to do maple tap and make my own syrup. I've always wanted to do it. So I went ahead and did that. And that involves the whole thing. Where these maple trees were was literally behind a parking lot it was a parking lot was reclaimed just before the river. So the parking lot ended abruptly with blue stone, very common crushed bluestone highway stones, and all this remains of broken bottles and trash and mangled mufflers and twisted metal cans and all this stuff below on a very sharp angle, sharper than
Okay.
45 degrees, and had to go down a good 35 feet into the Hockanum River. And that was the only linear trail that leads up into Tungus Forest, Massachusetts. Otherwise, it was city. Crazy fish in that river. Um, so I got my taps. I'm coming home from work. It's February, Connecticut. By the time I get to the parking lot, it's got to be pushing 5:45, 6 o'clock p.m. And if you know anything about winters in Connecticut, you
Yeah.
turn the clocks back and it's already getting dark. So I'm parking. I had been getting a lot of good sap, really premium. My 5-gallon buckets were filling to the top. So where I parked to the end of the parking lot where I would start going into where the trees were was just maybe 10 feet in from the end of the parking lot. I'm maybe 45 feet at the beginning of the parking lot where I always park. I'm walking and I see this guy kind of hunched over looking at my sap buckets, which is the same kind of thing I would do. And I was thinking, wow, okay. Now I was friends with there was just an apartment complex. I was really friends with a lot of people. I thought somebody was just curious, like, what the hell is this crazy dude doing?
Okay.
Tapping maple trees in February. I want to go just see what it is. That was the thought in my head. So I was like, I approached him. I'm getting closer, and I'm like, oh, this is a big guy. He's a big fella. Better be friendly. So I'm coming closer and closer. When this guy stands up, okay, he just kept standing up. I mean, he just did not stop going up. He locked eyes with me for maybe 2 or 3 seconds. I'm probably at this point now. I know I'm a painter by trade, so I know ladder heights. I'm probably 35 feet away from this. It's getting dark. This guy stands up and he lets out this howl that just resonates through you
Oh my God.
and goes crashing down. Straight down, straight through all of that metal and glass and broken fences and big, huge crushed bluestone the size of basketballs and all these gnarly angles. That's why they use it for construction. Down into the Hockanum River with God knows what's in there, up onto the other side, same situation, another apartment,
In
and
the
goes
winter.
north on the Hockanum Trail into Massachusetts, howling, knocking over freaking every tree on its way and scared the crap out of me. And I had realized at that point, by the way, I just left my buckets there for the night. I wasn't going to be tapping anymore. Um, I just realized that I had a hard time rationalizing this because I'm in East Hartford. You might as well be in the Bronx, New York, or something, right? It was the furthest thing from my mind. I was just tired. I remember it was like, oh crap, now I got to boil this down. You got to boil sap. You can't keep it. It's got to be boiled that night. If you're gonna do it, it's really dedicated. So I had realized after maybe a couple days, well, the next day actually, let's say, because I had to go and check on the buckets, but I let them sit there, and I knew they were just going to be overflowing. But that's fine. I'll just deal with them after work the next day. So I go where now the buckets were sitting. Behind the buckets were hemlock trees, which are an evergreen, and hemlock trees break off at the bottom a lot. So I was like, well, I remember where that one point was, right? Where his head was, like you see my presagittal crest here, right? He had the same thing, except that guy, that was 7 feet 8 inches, pushing on 8 feet. And I'm like, yeah, then I could see where all the sumacs were pushed aside and
Hmm.
onto the upper side. And I was like, this was before CCIS, years and years before. And I was like, well, there was a Bigfoot in the city.
Yeah.
That was my encounter. Now, many years go by, and I'm at the end of my whole art thing, and I decide to start CCIS, and I found crazy evidence since, but nothing like that. Nothing.
Yeah.
I don't think first when this thing realized that I was coming towards it, you got to understand, nobody went back there because it was just full of trash and stuff. I mean, people would even look at me weird for going back there at the end of the day. They kind of like me or put up with me because I'm kind of weird, you know. And I would tell
Welcome,
a few people
welcome
what
to
I
the
was doing.
show. Welcome to the show. I'm kind of weird. Yeah, that's me and all my friends.
So what happened, Tom, is hominid,
Mhm.
this bipedal hominid realized I was heading its way and realized I saw it. And that pissed it off. And I got to tell you, our East Coast squatches, they are big and they are strong and they are no joke. You do not want to mess with these guys. They are not the West Coast squatches, all friendly like that. No. The Mohawks here call them Ganasqua, the stone giants. And
Wow.
they now, this is great. So the tribes here, we're going to get back, and I'll get back to this. We're going to get back to the puck wedgies and how
Yes. Yeah.
the
Just
narrative changes
yeah. Wrap it
from
up, buddy. Go
US.
for it.
So we
Go
asked,
for it.
we talked about what they would look like, and I described them what I think. Then the evidence being arrowheads, tiny ones, bird points. Okay, the bird points. Um, the lore would change from the Wampanoag and into our Mohawks and Pequots and on up into the Great Lakes. The narrative changes from mischievous and troublesome, and there used to be a good narrative. Apparently, there was this sort of war, them with us. We used to trade and be friends. But then that sort of went sour, and then they became hostile. But as you follow the narratives up towards the Great Lakes, and of course the names are going to change between tribes, right? But they're going to understand this is the same thing, and they're a little friendlier. They had a nicer relationship, and they still carry on that sort of benevolent relationship with them. Um, so it's just really interesting, and um, I like to think that. So we leave them offerings, we leave them gifts, we leave them coffee beans, chocolate, real copper pennies, sweets, all kinds of what we think would be useful to a little person, right? So we leave offerings. One time we brought EMFs and voice boxes to Mohawk Mountain, and that was just crazy. That was just the evidence we got there was just crazy. And so my friend, he said, well, you're so far deep into the forest, deep in, mind you, that there should not be any electromagnetic frequencies. A call box
Right.
shouldn't really work that way. And we have all of this on video. You just got to backtrack through hundreds of investigations.
Wow. That's so much to take in. So this is fascinating to you. This is fascinating. You love it. This
Oh,
is like God's calling kind of to you. And it's really
oh
interesting.
yeah.
You're telling me that I think you said you were from Maine, right?
Yes.
And
Right. The most eastern, right near above Nova Scotia, and into the whole, that whole area,
oh wow, so you're way up there. Is it that place
way
is
up.
completely different. And you guys have your own little accent up there too, don't you?
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Listen, I did an episode with my older brother, Larry. Oh my God. And we did a night investigation, and there were great white sharks jumping out of the water at night. You could just hear them splashing around, and they were hunting seals. That's the highest tides in the world. So as we got there, the tides were just going up. So the island that the seals were on, the Great Harbor seals, was getting flooded again, and the sharks were going crazy, and they are just
Wow.
humongous.
Yeah, I was watching a whole thing about these worm diggers. It was like from like years ago, and they would the tides go out real far there, especially like the Halifax area in Canada. I think they drop something like I don't know,
That's you're right. Same
30,
area.
40 feet, something like this. St. Lawrence
Yeah,
River up that
50
way.
where I'm from.
50,
So
50
it's
feet.
not just 50 feet, Tom. When the 50 feet go out, you got to understand the mud flats go for miles. So it's okay. You could see a dock go up and down in time lapse, but when you go low tide, you don't see any water clear into Canada. Nothing, just mud,
Wow.
clam
Because
walls.
I'm from Baltimore. We only have like 3 feet. That's it.
Right.
We have
Well,
like
here
three
in
feet.
Connecticut, we have just slightly more than you, just slightly, maybe five.
Big five, yeah. So we have the floating docks, but we don't need them. We also just have the regular ones. So I'm fisherman, saltwater. I used to do hunting when I was a kid too. I'm a former U.S. Army soldier, so I know.
Thank you for serving our
Don't,
country.
don't worry, my friend. It was something I did at the time. Just I didn't know what I was doing, but
Thank you.
I'm better for it, I
Thank
think,
you.
and also a little messed up for it too. Hopefully, one day they'll actually realize that I'm working on that. But
Hey, good
yeah,
luck with your blue channel catfish down there.
your blue channel. Oh yeah, we got bullheads, blue channel. We got all that kind of stuff down there. Crabs.
I guess they're invasive in your sound there.
Um, I don't know. They've always been there ever since I was a kid. They're the better eating ones because the bullheads get all muddy and they get that yellow streak in them, and they can be really nasty. They can be really. I prefer the blue channel ones. You can cut it out, and the meat is still good. But if you eat the bullhead ones, they're a little nasty. Um,
No.
yeah. So let's go ahead and back to the puck wedgie. You said you had something else you wanted to say about that.
I was talking about the lore, so we finished up on that, but then we were talking about the Bigfoots, why they were called the stone giants with
Okay.
I live right near Mohawk Mountain, so I really identify with that culture. I'm not First Nations, but I love them. I respect them deeply. So they would call what you would call a Bigfoot Ganasqua, translation stone giant. These stone giants, pre European invasion, their lore was that these big guys, like the one I saw, would roll around in pine pitch and sticky substances. Imagine you're covered in fur, so you're rolling around in sticky pine pitch. Then you find gravel and you roll around in that. That's why you're a stone giant. Now you're covered with stones, little pebbles, gravel, like on a gravel road, but covered head to toe in this stuff. And as the Native Americans, if they had problems with these guys, which they did, they were aggressive. They would come in and mess with your whole settlement. They would try to fire arrows at them, and the arrowheads would just shatter, stone
Yeah.
on stone,
See,
shatter, kind of like
she rode right here.
chainmail.
Our Native American friend rode right here. Yep, they use it as armor. That was very cool. Yes,
Oh
she's the
man,
real
thank
deal
you
too,
for
man.
that, for verifying. Yeah, you guys got to hook up with
Real
us,
deal.
okay? I
I'm
like your
trying so
input.
hard. I'm trying to talk to her so much. She's 60-ish. I've spoken with her, and she's actually done where she didn't do the full year, but where they go out and they do their rite of passage, where they go into the forest, and that's where she met all the cryptids of the forest, and she knows quite a bit. And it's just we've been working on it for 6 months, but hopefully one day. Tom, I got my email. Okay, I'll look at it. I'll look at it, babe, and I'll make sure we go to. Thanks for backing them up. So that they would shoot the arrows at them, it would just kind of bounce off of them because they
Stone
put the
on
stuff in
stone,
a pine
exactly
pitch.
what she was
Yeah,
saying.
yeah,
Highly so. I did not know that this continued to the northwest. This is fascinating. Okay.
7 months.
So
Wow.
please, I love your input and find CSIS and let's talk. Anyhow, so the lore here with the Mohawks and our Wampanoags and others, these arrows would hit these, bang, the stones shatter. Now it's real interesting. As the Europeans invaded, that's how I like to say it. As the
Mhm.
Europeans invaded, that culture immediately disappeared simply because they had guns. they had bullets, and those bullets, that Ganasqua defense of resin and stone was no longer effective. And you don't find history of that lore anymore as soon as that point happened. And to me, it's real interesting. You see a lot of the invasion happened on the East Coast, and a lot of, industrialized, we moved all of the wildlife away. And then you get the modern stuff with their Bigfoots out there, their Sasquatches, and they're more prevalent. Well, of course, there used to be caribou in Connecticut. It's crazy. But as we are reforesting, all animals are finding their way back. And keep in mind, this is every bit a biological animal, very, very comfortable in the wilderness, larger brain capacity than you or I. That
Yeah.
automatically makes it more intelligent.
I try to
Period.
explain that. I try to explain that to people who don't believe, and there's some people. I've had people who swear by mind speak, orbs, all kind of things that they've seen. Everyone has this different experiences. Your experience is different than other people's, and I listen to all of them. But then you hear things like Ron Moorhead's, like samurai chatter, as they call it, and they hear them talking to one another, and they go, well, they're kind of they want to think of them as like dumb apes, but they're not. You know what I mean? There's something completely different.
Yeah.
They just kind of on their little tree of life, they kind of went their own little way. And their technology, ours is silicon based, and theirs is something else, something that we don't understand. And I try to explain to people like this, if we can understand them, but we also know that dolphins have a cerebral cortex that is 40% larger than ours, and we know they have a language, and we don't understand them either. So why wouldn't something that's larger with us, that, as far as we know, if we kind of follow our biology, saying they, they have the human features in their face with they're primates of sorts, that means they would also have a large brain capacity. Why wouldn't they also be intelligent? You know what I mean?
Larger brain capacity. They have a pre-sagittal crest. They have a larger. We have this brain, but their brain goes further up. Humans have, of course, as you know, elongated brains to mimic that, but they are equipped with that larger brain already from get-go. If you're just saying it's one of the Pithecuses, larger hominid, larger brain, and so it's as simple as that. Listen, so the minute I go into this creature's habitat, I am perceived. I
Right.
am not able to perceive this creature in its habitat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
It's
care
like
if you want to call that intelligence or not, but it's
that's them
got an
walking in.
advantage over me.
You're walking into their living room. It's like them.
Right.
You're watching the ball game or whatever you like to do, and they just walking, between you and the kitchen, and that's you walking into their kitchen. That's their environment. That's their technology, or whatever you want to call that. They perceive you, and it's strange. Are you having any type of connection with like family groups or something like that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we last year we found what I think was a nursery, sort of a nest. If you go into our webpage there, it was in Bantam River in Connecticut, here in the Northwest, the largest original undammed lake in Connecticut. And there's a thing called the White Memorial, basically a forest that surrounds this thing. And there's no hunting there. And I got to tell you, there are a lot of no hunting areas in Connecticut. It's not that there isn't hunting, there is. But probably of all the New England states, we have the largest land mass set aside specifically for no hunting. And we find these structures there, and massive footprints, massive, at least 18 inches wide in this crazy mud. Gotta be down at least, we measured all this, 6, 7 inches and deep. And
Wow.
then with a gate between footprints, easily more than 5 feet. I couldn't even replicate one step. And I stepped in the same mud with heavy boots on, and it went down maybe 2 inches.
Right. Right, dude.
Um,
That's
so
incredible, man. That's incredible. What do you say? What would you say for someone, say somebody, for example, a novice to this, somebody who, like you and I, seen Patterson Gimlin or seen, the fence climber or other videos that are out there. There's some, especially nowadays with the, the AI stuff, which is really bugging me. I think there should be a law saying this is AI made, my opinion, or something of that nature, whatever that comes to be. What would you say somebody, how would you convince somebody that these are real? What would you say to somebody to make them think about not being as skeptical and just shutting it down in their mind?
Well, I would say get yourself into a state forest, go deep in, get yourself to a land trust, a wildlife refuge area, maybe into a state park, and if you had to, a national park. But the more obscure of an area you pick, here in Connecticut, I mean, we go Wyandotte State Forest, Robin Swamp. Believe me, a handful of people go to these places, and we get crazy evidence. So what I'm saying to you is, don't look this stuff up online. Get out there. I don't care if I was in Idaho, this would be ISIS. Okay, if I was in Montana, it would be MSIS. You're getting the idea. Maybe you're not going to encounter the same cryptids, the same unusual animals. I don't care if I went to Alabama. I would just look up. I would look up my First Nations lore. I would go back to early encounters. I would talk to the historians. I would
Bankhead,
talk
man.
to the hunters.
If you're going to Alabama, go to
there.
Bankhead, buddy. Bankhead State Forest, my buddy. I've had
Bankhead
someone
State Forest.
That's where you need to go, man. I got people from Jersey with Dogman encounters where they're fine. Dude, this was last week, man. Southern Jersey, man. This guy's close to where I'm from Baltimore. It's like an hour, and he was saying, "Yeah, man, this thing grabbed my wife, man. Grabbed her. He fired 4 rounds off into it because she was getting drugged down the road, dude. You know what I mean? So like, there's the like, I don't think like the Bigfoot I kind of go all over the place though. See if you can follow. Sorry if you're like, I'm just trying to point out. You were saying like the one that you've seen back, a long time ago before you got into it while you were doing your poetry. You've seen this in the middle of the city. These things are everywhere, and it's just you have to kind of open your eyes and kind of, instead of being closed-minded when you go into the forest, open your eyes, open your mind, and go in there with a positive attitude. I think they read your intention as well, especially when it comes to Bigfoot. I really think they do.
Homo sapien is the only hominid with a calcified pineal gland. Not only that, the only animal in Earth's history that has a calcified pineal gland. What that means is that your and my pineal gland is full of bone calcium.
That you can open that up, though.
12,000 years ago, artificially. It cannot happen in nature. Cannot happen in nature.
Okay, what do you think that is?
That's why no animal has. So when you are dealing with these other animals, let's speculate. Let's just say that's your whole Egyptian serpent thing, right?
Or your third eye.
That's a perception. That's a sense, like touch, feel, sight, hearing, that has been artificially blocked. So you are not able to go in on equal terms with anything like this at all. And it was blocked for a reason. You can unblock it. I don't know how, but I've heard you.
Oh, you can. There's a possibility. It's all about knowing that and then seeking how to unblock it. Eastern mysticism helps a lot with that. Really does. Certain breathing techniques, there's certain practice and meditations and things that actually will do that. I love. That's why I call it the eye of Jupiter, the third eye. Opening up the sixth sense and connecting. You know what I mean? It's all about regurgitating, basically. Because I don't know much, man. I don't know anything. You know what I mean? It's the truth.
I don't know anything either.
Isn't that wonderful though? There's nothing wrong with saying I don't know, is it? There's nothing wrong with that, bro.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't know about the cryptid. The mucket. I couldn't believe it. Like last week, here I am thinking, I've studied it all. And so what really slapped me in the face was that they got a little town festival for this thing. Are you kidding me? In my own state? Oh my God. I'm gonna hide. I'm
No worries.
embarrassed.
Yeah, don't be. So I'm down here. Okay, so the Northwest Tracker, I'm down here in Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. So you know where I am. Okay. I'm way off the
Right,
beaten trail. I did that
right.
for a particular
You're in the
reason.
whole
What
asteroid central over there.
I'm an asteroid central Mayan culture. My girlfriend is 100% Mayan. She also has a little bit of Cherokee blood in her, possibly, and
Nice.
a little bit of Chinese blood in her too. You can kind of see it.
Oh, good.
Yeah. What she doesn't know, it's kind of hard to follow here because in Mexico they didn't really keep track of records like we do. They're kind of a little later to the party, but they're at the party now. And it's interesting because right here she wrote Mayan cure. Let me see if I can add this. Why is it not doing it? There we go. There we go. Add Mayan cure for not seeing. I wonder what that means. What are you referring to? That's interesting. Because I've been to
I think she's
pyramids
talking
here, bro.
about exactly that.
The third eye,
Exactly
yeah.
that.
There you go. Thank you, buddy. We are the eye. We are aware. I finally get it sitting here watching. Yes, man. That's always my thing. To be aware of your surroundings. That means all the senses open up, dude. Reflect upon yourself. The Jupiter is the largest, body other than the sun in the solar system, and that eye has been going around for they think at least 300 years. It's been seen by Galileo and others, and it once in a while reflects upon Earth and looks at it like a giant eye. So it's kind of like a couple things put together, man. I enjoy talking to people who've had experiences that I have not had. I've had paranormal experiences in my life. I'll be actually going on a podcast later today talking about it. There's someone else wanted me on, and I get to run into people like you who has his own unique perspective, and that's all we're trying to do. Because in the end, there's also cryptids like Dogman that
Yes.
tends to be rather aggressive from all the things that I've been hearing. And I want
Yeah,
people
he's
to
a
understand. He's a
yeah,
grumpy
some
guy.
anger management issues
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure of all your cryptids.
yeah. He needs to go to HR for sure, dude.
He's no match for our black dog of Meriden, though.
What's
All
that,
right,
dude? What's the black dog American, dude? Oh,
black dog of
don't don't invite me to a good time and throw a grenade into my party without me expecting some answers. What is that?
specific to Connecticut.
What is it?
Meriden,
What is
Connecticut.
okay?
Meriden, Connecticut. Let's just call it Central Connecticut, okay?
Okay.
I mean, it's got some interesting stuff, but you're driving. It's a city, but there are crazy, crazy trails there. I love Meriden. So there are these things called the Black Hills or the Hanging Hills of Meriden. The mountains are called Mount Lamentation, Mount Misery, Dog Misery Swamp, the Black Hills. You get the idea. Black Pond. Everything's there. So there's a pretty flat range. And then all of a sudden there is these mountains, let's call them mountains, and they just jut up. Okay. They just I mean, there's a highway that goes by and you just see like there's these mountains. Now these mountains are interesting because they are the highest point of land on the entire East Coast within 25 miles of the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay.
It just makes them crazy geological.
Right. I got you, man. Hmm.
They're built of trapstone. Trapstone is so the cliff faces are about the size that they tend to fall into sort of rectangular shapes. So the whole mountain is shattered. It's constructed, it's loosely held together. Trap rock, they use it for construction because you just have to hit it and it falls into pieces. These cliffs are 300 to 400 feet straight down, and there's a
Wow.
series of them. So getting into the black dog, going way back. The black dog of Meriden is a spectral animal, so it's not biological. So we don't really study that too deeply. We stay firmly in biology. But this is history of Connecticut. So the lore is when you're hiking these black hills, you might see this black dog, kind of like a cocker spaniel, but just black, right? Friendly's wagging his tail. You might see him from a distance, but you'll see him barking, him or her, but you don't hear anything. It's real close. It could be snowing and you're going on the same path. The path follows these cliffs. And you could be like, all right, well, let's go see this dog. There's a lot of hikers. It's not unusual to see dogs there, but kind of unusual. You see this fella. Um, and there's no footprints, there's no sounds, nothing. It just appears. And so the lore goes as follows. The first time you see the dog is for joy. The second time is for sorrow. The third time is for death.
Damn.
And they're famously, you're going to look this up online, the Black Dog of Meriden. You're going to find the history of these biologists back in the 30s from Yale here in Connecticut. Of course, you're a geologist nerd back in the 30s, early 30s. So you're going to go study these crazy anomalous cliffs. And these two were buddies, and they both would go separately. And one guy had seen the dog one time, and another guy, when they went out together, saw it for the first time. But then this guy, first fella saw it for the second time. And now they're fully aware of this lore. This goes back to the 1800s. This is nothing new. So they return. All right. One guy's seen it once, one guy's seen it twice. This dog appears again.
Wow.
They're climbing up this mountain face, and the whole trap rock face crumbles away. The guy that had seen it now for the third time, this is all documented history, is dead. The guy that seen it for the second time, he's in really bad shape. He's messed up. Takes him years to recover. Decides on this anniversary of this date, let's say 10 years go by, he's going to go back and climb this up again. And I mean, you almost, of course, you know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
He's up
It's not looking good. Not looking good, Colin.
Nothing good. Now, we don't know if he saw the dog or not, but the cliff face fell away again and the fella died.
Damn.
We
So it's like a
got video.
curse.
We have investigated this place. We went back. There's a thing called Castle Craig there on the top of this mountain is this beautiful castle. You can see from, unfortunately, they made a highway. Castle Craig sits on the highest point there. Mount Lamentation. Hubbard Park in Meriden. Cool place. We go and do an investigation, and I'm on Castle Craig, and I'm asking. Now I had this crazy idea. I'm CCIS out, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna ask people if they saw a lost dog. But before they
Okay.
go there, now I used to live in Meriden. Oh, I lived in Meriden in my 20s, and I hiked extensively through there. I know that place like the back of my hand. And I did see a dog. I saw a dog up there. Nothing bad's happened to me. So let's keep it that way. So I return every time I go back. I'm like, oh crap, what am I doing? I'm thinking like, okay, we got a spectral dog. It obviously jinxes people. What can we do? How can we change this narrative? Well, it's bad seems to happen in threes. So I'm like, it's a dog. What do we do? Get this crazy idea. I'm going to leave it dog biscuits. I'm going to leave it dog biscuits and 3 brand new pennies, right? So I go to this flagpole near this castle, and this castle is just a shell, right? So you can walk up, but it's not like a living castle. It's an ornament, but it's cool. It's built in this ancient Scottish tradition. Some say Turkish. Okay. So there's a flagpole there. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to leave these 3 dog biscuits as a gift for the black dog. And meanwhile, I'm asking people now, I'm like, have you seen a lost dog? And I'm just having fun, right? I'm just
Yeah.
knuckleheading out. But I'm getting all these crazy. It's like, oh yeah, I heard about the. All these people are fascinated. So at the top of the castle, there's a little viewing area, and there was this young lady, and I said, "Have you seen a lost dog?" And she goes, "It's real concerned. Look, tell a real do-gooder." And she's like, "No, have you lost your dog?" And I said, well, "Kind of." And she's like, "No, how do you kind of lose a dog?" We got this whole thing on video. It's hysterical, but that was just humor. And you can't kind of lose a dog, obviously, but I was too busy laughing. We did catch this on film. But where I decided to leave the 3 dog biscuits, this is fascinating, fascinating. Exactly at that flagpole, there's just sort of a drop off and then a little flat area. An unfortunate woman fell off the cliff right at the base of that flagpole, landed down on the next level of, you know, trapstone,
Hmm.
and was messed up. I mean, she had to go. She had to be life starred out of there. She had real debilitating injuries, brain injuries.
Wow.
You know, my heart goes out to her.
Yeah.
You know, I really feel badly, and that happens a lot there in those cliffs. Stuff just breaks away, and people just stand on the cliffs. I did it myself. But that was 1 week later. And so that's a history specific to Meriden. Now, within shot of that, when you're standing on those cliffs, the next mountain peak, and mountain peaks aren't common in Connecticut. We don't have we have mounts. There are mountains are not the heights aren't high enough to be specified,
Yeah, I
scientifically
think
as
it's like
mountains. They're
2,000
mountains.
feet. I think is when they're considered a mountain.
We don't have any.
Okay.
They just get there. Mount Frizzell gets there. But across the viewing area of the Black Hills of Meriden is Sleeping Giant State Park. And man, that guy, and I'm really getting into this. That guy looks exactly like a giant sleeping on its back from
Oh
that
my.
distance. It's anatomically. Now, I have not investigated that place yet, but it's certainly in our targets.
It's on the to-do list. It's in the bucket list.
It's on the bucket list.
Yeah, on the bucket list. Oh man, there you
The
go.
bucket list.
Anyone to joke like a true stage dweller of the past. Hopefully, I get you up to do some stand up eventually, buddy. I'm going tonight. I'm going up to do Spanish stand up tonight. We're gonna have some fun. Dude,
Break a leg. Don't forget.
this
Hey,
has been, yeah, buddy. This has been so fantastic, man. I think I'm definitely going to have you back on again. I think I'm going to do a separate episode where I do an episode live every week and I do a regular episode. You're such a wealth of knowledge, man. And where can people find your YouTube channel? Where can they contact you if they want to talk with you or maybe go and investigate some areas where they're having some activity? How can people reach out to you?
man, you see right here, CCIS. We are on every single, um, you know, platform there is, social media, Facebook, YouTube, CCIS, Connecticut Cryptids.com. Just reach out to us, but message us directly. Go right to our Facebook page, and anybody that wants to talk with us, if you're in the area, if you're in Connecticut, Massachusetts, you want to join us, you're welcome. We are very open to the public and what we do. If you have a report in Connecticut, send it to us. We will check it out. We thrive. We just love reports. We get a lot of them.
Yeah, he's
Novelty State Forest right now is a hot spot.
awesome. Yeah, just to give you guys a little heads up, I actually reached out to Colin through Facebook, and it worked well. He's very tentative. We had a little problem with the link for whatever reason, but he's like, I'm here, and I'm like, where? But he came here, dude. He's an upfront gentleman. He's doing wonderful things out there. It's been a pleasure having you on tonight, friend, and I will be reaching out to you again. People are asking for you to come back on already. Look at that, great speaker. Can't wait to have you back on, man. There's so many things we didn't get into. Maybe what 1/10 of 100%.
None of it. We didn't get into the Mantis Man sightings here.
Oh wow,
Dudley Town. We got a lot still to cover. The Block Ness Monster, Plum Island. I mean, there's a lot here. There's a lot.
Right. Definitely do. So we'll do this again for sure if you're willing, man. Great shit. Thank you, Al.
Absolutely.
All right, buddy. I'll see you around, and I'll catch you later. Okay.
So thank you, and it was a real pleasure to be in the Eye of Jupiter, Tom. You're a great host. Your audience is wonderful, and if they have any questions after this, please, they want to network with us by all means, and don't forget to get your friend to that 500.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get there tonight, man. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I will write you soon. Okay.
Absolutely, friend. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. All right, so that was wonderful, Colin Haskins from the CCIS, I think you called it. So the CCIS, very knowledgeable tonight. A lot of great stuff. I wanted to pull. Normally, I just go with my guest out together, but I want to make sure that I direct traffic over right after this show in about approximately a half hour, about 28 minutes. I will be on with Daniel Cahoon from the Magical Journey podcast. Let's get him. He needs, I think the last time I checked, which was today, 7 more subscribers to get him to 500. He's been doing this for a year, and I'm going to be on the show, and we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. So I hope to catch you guys over there. So remember, let me go over and make sure I get my media assets. Okay, there we go. Remember, guys, we are the eye. We are aware. Love you all. Have a great weekend. You have been watching the Eye of Jupiter podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of your favorite interviews. And remember, we are the Eye, and we are aware.